tell me what you expect to make out of today's program. I want to hear like 2, 3, or 4 people. Your expectation for today's program.
Let me start. This is Lawrence from Nairobi. So my expectation would be to get to know how to work with SQL.
Please, I cannot hear you clearly.
Hello, can you hear me now? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, can you hear me?
Let's see, maybe the problem is from here. Let's just hear someone else.
Yeah, come.
Hello, Lillian, you want to say something?
Yeah,
Please go ahead.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Yes, so my name is Lillian, and
please kindly mute yourself.
I've actually been following you on LinkedIn, and I've watched some of your videos on YouTube, and they've been very insightful and helpful. So for this class, as it relates to structured query language, I have a basic, or will I say background knowledge of what structured query language is and the various type of structured query language that we have. But my major takeaway from this class would be, I want to see how it interfaces with finance. I want to see how it interfaces with maybe business intelligence, finance analysis, and all that. So it's from me here.
All right. So let me even note the question down so that in case I can always ask the facilitator by the time he joins. But at the same time, I will provide my own brief response to that.
What is it now, Zion?
Mute these people, please.
Okay, so everyone is muted now. Now, based on your question, how does it relate to finance and how does it relate to visualization? You know, we have both finance and non-finance data in an organization. Finance data includes things like how sales will impact revenue, how sales will impact profits, what is the profit of the organization, what's the sales, what is the quantity that was sold. We can also talk about what are the discounts provided, everything. All this information are also stored on the database. Now, when this information are stored on the database, as a finance person, and this time around, I'm not talking about maybe financial reporter or maybe an accountant. I'm talking of a financial analyst or an FP&A analyst. You need to retrieve this data from the database before you can perform whatever analysis you want to perform on those financial data. And the language, the programming language for querying database, that is a technical word, or for retrieving this data is called SQL, Structured Query Language. You query the language, you tell it that, okay, I want this column, I want this column, I want this column. So that is what we call the select statement. You are either selecting, okay, I'm selecting name of customers, I'm selecting total sales by each customer, I'm selecting the profit, I'm selecting the discount provided, and I'm selecting maybe cost of sales. So from this, you can generate your visuals. So that is where data visualization comes in. After you've queried your data, you can perform some normalization on SQL. After normalizing on SQL, you then import the data into your Power BI or your visualization tool for further normalization. Or if there's no need for further normalization, you can just make a direct connection to that database and do what? And perform your visualization. You can provide charts or graph or whatever you want to do with that. Does that answer your question, Lillian?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. So any other expectation?
Hello, good morning.
Charts. Hello.
Yeah, good. This is Abdurazak. So I joined from Nigeria. So thank you for this opportunity. My own expectation is that, not that I don't even have anything, maybe I do not even have any knowledge about SQL, though there was a time that I was just trying to do like a self-study on it. But just that my own expectation is that when someone is trying to get this kind of knowledge and just watching a video without asking the questions at some point where you need to ask the question so that it can augment someone's understanding. So at that point, as in it was totally, it makes it to be frustrating at some point.
Yeah, I understand.
So my expectation is that I really want to understand how this SQL, how it is efficiently used when it comes to database, and how we can also make use of it to make a business decision with our data. Thank you.
All right, so your question is very similar to what Lillian asked. You understand? So you're looking for the application aspect of it. And that is what I'm telling you. First, even organizing your data, managing it. For instance, I was talking about the data engineers the other time. They are the one that we arrange the data in the database, how they want to structure it. They will take cognizance of size, of space, of different compression in order for the program to run efficiently, both the input and output to be very efficient and effective, because you have to take cognizance of the compute time, you have to take cognizance of the run time. Different things like that goes into database management, so that when you query a data, how long does it take before you generate that data? There's some data that could take almost 30 minutes, depending on the size and depending on how it was arranged. So that is the aspect for data engineers. So, but for us as finance persons, we don't really need to bother ourselves with all these data engineering aspects. All we want to do is that, okay, we have a business need. Your business head told you what he wants to achieve. Like if he wants to have an idea of the performance of each managers within the organization. How are they performing in terms of the sales they are making, or in terms of in terms of the costs that is allocated to them, and in terms of the profits? How are they, you might want to test their KPI. Are they actually making the relevant sales? Okay, most especially for your sales and marketing department, and you have different managers, and you want to see how each manager is performing within the organization. What are they generating? What is making them not to perform as expected? So as a finance person, you go there, you extract the relevant data, and extracting the data is not enough. Your manager cannot understand what the data is saying until you make it into maybe a bar chart, or you make it into an histogram or a pie chart. Seeing it like that, okay, you can know that, oh, this man has 55% of sales, the other one has 25, the other one has 10. Why is making one to have just 10% and the other one is having 55%? Is it that the geographical location has a fewer population? So you begin to analyze and you begin to make your decision. So that is the essence of SQL. It's just like a bridge between the database and the data visualization tools.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, someone said, let me just quickly read some chats. I expect to know how to handle documents using SQL. How to handle documents. I will not mind if you can throw more light on these. You want to know how to handle documents. I think I don't understand that. So the next person say, my expectation is to get to know how to work with SQL with BI visualization tool, how to query data using SQL, Power BI. Okay, I've explained that. And something I want to also quickly explain, I want to tell you is that you can make a live or direct connection from Power BI to SQL. If you use Power BI, just let me see you, just say yes or something. If you are an advanced Power BI user. Okay, good. So you can make something that's called live connection with that particular database. And then on a real-time basis, as that database is being updated, or as you're making changes, or as your IT department is making changes to the database. And since you have already set up your visualization, everything will be updated into Power BI, both Power BI desktop and Power BI service. And you'll be seeing the latest charts at every point in time. So that is another advantage. Must I know how to use Power BI before SQL can be used? No, these are different tools entirely. SQL is just for you to be able to organize your data, your database, and also to extract data from database. You understand? But Power BI, it's also these things, they go together most of the time. Like a lot of people that knows how to use Power BI, they have an idea of how to use SQL too. So learning the tool will not be bad for even a finance person. Power BI is also very important, and later on, we're going to be bringing you an advanced DAX programming language, which will be facilitated by me. They go hand in hand. It's also very important. Power BI is a very, very important.
Hello.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for this opportunity. For some of us, though, let me speak for myself. We are novice, but we know that there is need for us to use technology to upskill and do more as a finance person. So we have zero knowledge regarding most of those things that you're talking about. I just feel to put that in so that whilst you talk, you can understand that some people have zero knowledge and then you need to carry us behind so that we're not totally lost.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think our trainer is around now. Michael, can you say something, please? Michael, are you with us? Hello, Michael. Okay. Let's give him 1 or 2 minutes more. He said he just told me that he's joining. I think the vast majority of people here are accountants, and I understand the need to go to the very basis of it. So please, I have already told the trainer to make it as simple as possible. And sorry, just a minute. So he said he will join in 2 or 3 minutes. In the meantime, I don't know if you have any more thing to say, you can just let me know. Otherwise, I'll play you music just to fill the void.
Please, I have a question.
Okay.
Okay, so my question is this training, is it just only for today, or this just an introduction, or is it continuous?
All right, this is an introduction, and I promise to still bring you I mean, to consolidate on whatever we learned today. Please kindly mute yourself, please. Please. And some of the trainings or maybe subsequent trainings will be handled by me personally. But today, just one of us will be taking it. So we'll be bringing you Excel. Tomorrow or next tomorrow, I'll release a video on advanced Excel. You can also go and check it out. Now that I have your links, I can just forward it to you. It's free, it's totally free. And subsequently, we organize some other trainings on Power BI, Excel, and SQL. Yeah. Any other question?
Do you have anything regarding blockchain?
For those without finance background or not having financial modeling knowledge and all the technical terms being used, I hope this training provides Okay, so as I was saying, most of what you'll be dealing with, even as finance profession, I mean, as an IT person within the organization, most of what you'll be dealing with are finance related. So don't worry, even if you're not coming from finance background, this training is still for you. Okay, now we have our trainer. Michael, how are you doing?
Hi, hello, I'm fine. Shegun, I'm fine.
All right. We are happy to have you finally. We've been here for almost, some have been here for more than 1 hour, and some, I mean, just recently joined. But nonetheless, thank you for joining. We are waiting to learn from you. We have a population of like 36 people waiting to extract, transform, and load from your wealth of experience and knowledge. Thank you very much. I'm making you the host now.
Okay, thank you very much for this opportunity. I'm happy to be here. Sorry for taking your time. All right. Thank you so much. I would like to share my screen now. And okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to this class of structured query language, that is SQL. All right, I will be sharing my screen and then we'll be showing you some practical practices, okay, on how to go about writing SQL codes. Okay, so please kindly confirm if you can see my screen. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you, but your screen is not showing.
Okay, all right. I'm going to share my screen right now. Okay. Kindly confirm if you can see my screen.
It's still loading. Yes, the screen is up now.
It's up now.
Okay. All right. So this morning, without taking much of our time, we will be learning SQL, right? So SQL is a language, all right? It's a computer language for querying and manipulating the database, okay? So the way you have commands where you write or you interact with the database, SQL is one of those programs you write to interact with databases. Okay, so before that, I would just quickly like to explain one or two things. Why SQL, right? Anybody who wants to go into data analytics, data engineering, data science must have SQL knowledge, all right? Not just knowledge, a very good knowledge of SQL. Sorry, I've not introduced myself. My name is Michael Ajayi. I'm sure my Oga must have done that. That's Shegun. Okay, I'm a data analyst and then scripting officer, currently with First Bank. I've been into this for more than 4 years. And then I've done a lot of trainings, both corporate trainings and individual trainings. All right, so now, why SQL to be precise? SQL is a data, or is a programming, or it's a computer language that you use to query a relational database management system. Okay, relational database management system is that database that stores data in form of tables. That is, tables are rows. When you have collection of records in form of rows and rows and columns, that is tables. So relational databases basically stores data in rows and columns. You have some other programming of computer language for querying other databases that are not relational, all right? But when it comes to SQL, it deals basically with querying a relational database management system, all right? So, but then what does, how do you now query this database, all right? So I will be training, I'll be showing us how to use the Oracle SQL. SQL means structured query language, all right? And it has some other, I'm sure most of us must have heard about Oracle SQL, Microsoft, MySQL, PostgreSQL, Transact SQL, NoSQL. All these are SQL, how do I put it? Like an extension, all right? But what we'll be looking at this morning is Oracle SQL. The one for Microsoft is either Transact SQL, that is TSQL, or Postgre, okay? The one for, we have one which is NoSQL, that is for MongoDB, Mongo database. So we have some other ones, but what we'll be looking at this morning is Oracle SQL. So I'll be showing us first things how to create a table in SQL, because like I said, as Oracle SQL here, database deals with relational database. And like I said, stores data in form of tables. So how do we create table in SQL? Okay, someone just raised a hand. Please go ahead if you have a question.
Okay, sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to find out why Oracle SQL. Like if you want to in terms of it being I don't know what's the advantage it has over other types of SQL like Postgre and MySQL and other SQLs. Like which one would you say is more used in most organizations, especially as finance professionals? So I just wanted to know.
Okay, all right, that's a very good question. Now, the reason why I'm actually using Oracle SQL to train is number one, Oracle SQL is very robust. Okay, so you tend to have to learn a lot of things, even if you don't remember or you don't know any other SQL other SQL, maybe like Microsoft and other ones. The knowledge of Oracle SQL can be applied to other SQL programs because they are almost similar. So, but Oracle SQL is more robust. If you know Oracle applications very well, they are very, 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 very big, very robust, very, very large. You know, you keep on learning and learning and learning. So when you know Oracle SQL, you will be able to translate the knowledge you have on Oracle SQL to whether Microsoft, whether Transact SQL, Postgre, or whichever. And number two is that most organizations, right? Most top organizations use Oracle SQL. And one of the major reasons is because of the security. Okay. I'm not saying that Microsoft, the Transact SQL from Microsoft is not widely used as well. But, you know, when you have a secured, the setup for Oracle SQL, you can't easily get it anywhere. You have to buy it, all right, before you can set it up. But for Microsoft, you can. They are free, so I mean, they are widely out there that you can easily download. They are open source and you can easily set them up. So security, knowledge, robustness, you know, and most, like I said, most organizations that I've worked with, they really trust, or most of them uses Oracle, all right, because of all this I've made mention of. So I've worked basically with Oracle and I've worked with Microsoft to Transact SQL as well, even the Postgre, all right. But before you can talk about Postgre, you'll have talked about SQL, I mean, Oracle SQL, you'll have talked about the Transact. All right, so I hope I've been able to answer your question.
Yes, thank you.
All right, so you're welcome. So if you knowing Oracle SQL does not actually say that you can know other ones, of course, the knowledge of the Oracle SQL I tried to use then, or I knew, was what gave me advantage on my, they are similar, they are very similar. There are no much differences, you know. All right, Abdurazak, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So my own question is that with this Oracle SQL now, so let's assume that someone just wants to have hands-on training, maybe after the class, and someone just to, okay, let me just try to demonstrate what I've learned. So how do we access this, or do we need to subscribe, or how? That's just my question. Thanks.
Oh, okay. So only the Shegun would be able to give answers to that. Of course, if you want to have hands-on experience, you can always contact Shegun, and then we'll see what we can do about that.
Okay, it's all right. I believe we can provide you a link to where to download this application and to be able to, because me, I'm very, very confident with TSQL and Michael with Oracle. So, but I believe there should be, you should be able to go to Oracle website and be able to download this particular application on your machine free of charge, right? And you can then use that to practice whatever will be taught today. And if you need to know more, if you need to advance, then we can talk and discuss about that, either through the subsequent programs that we'll be providing. I can also give you some links to where you can learn.
Thank you.
All right.
Hello, sir.
Go ahead.
My hand is up, sir. Okay.
Sorry.
Good morning, and thank you very much. So my question is, can one use the Postgres SQL to do what you want to teach us now with this Oracle SQL?
Yes, for sure. You can use PostgreSQL to do whatever you want to do. The same way you create table in Oracle, Microsoft, the same way you create table in Postgre. Okay.
All right, and it would be nice if Mr. Michael can just help us to drop the link in the chat box as we are going on, so people that can be able to download to their system will download and be able to follow as you're doing it. So, thank you, sir.
Okay, myself and Mr. Shegun will surely see to that. Okay. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir.
So we will surely see to that. I know there will be lots of hands-on practices after the class. Don't worry, we'll surely provide you with something to work with, even if not during the class because of our time, but probably after the class, something would be done to see how you can have something to practice with. All right. So, like I said, or as I was saying, my the knowledge of Oracle SQL would surely help you to be able to interact, even if you don't know anything about Microsoft or Postgre, like you said, even my SQL. This knowledge would be enough. I mean, would help you to be able to grasp what other SQL codes, what they actually do, or what they are used for. All right. So now this application you have seen on my screen is Toad. All right, call it Toad for Oracle. And then Toad for Oracle is an environment where you run your SQL scripts. For Microsoft, it's called SQL Server Management Studio, SSMS. All right. For MySQL is MySQL Workbench, something. All right. And then for Postgre is like a Postgre Studio also from Microsoft. So they all have different environments where you can run your queries. So for Oracle, it's Toad for Oracle, or you also have SQL or PLSQL Developer. Okay, so these are applications where you can run your SQL queries. And don't forget that we have the database. That is where data from an application is stored. So if you have a database and you want to write Oracle SQL, you want to run Oracle SQL codes to query the database, then you have to install Toad, right, to be able to do that. So this environment is where we'll be looking at to run our queries. So like I said, SQL helps you to be able to query the database by running queries. But then what do you do? What does the database itself contains? Database, like I said, is like a container. It is where data from an application is stored. So if you want to get data from the database, you have to send in commands to the database, all right? And these commands are four. There are four groups. We call them SQL commands. There are four groups of SQL commands. The first one is data definition language. Data definition language. So that's the first group. And under the data definition language, you have create, alter, and drop. All right. Create, alter, and drop. Okay. Because these are things we need to know. SQL languages. Okay. So we said data definition language. It's called DDL. All right. In DDL you have create command, alter, and then drop. Now, the second one is data control language, which is data control language that is grant and revoke The third one is data manipulation language, which is insert, update, and then delete. Okay. The last one is data query language, which is select. So if you understand these 4 groups of SQL commands, it will help you to be able to do anything whatsoever. These are basic interview questions, right? These are basic interview questions that you need to understand. Now, what is the data definition language? Like I said, we have create, alter, and drop. Create helps you to create a new object, okay? Objects like tables. These are things you store in the database. Objects you store in the database are called database objects. And examples of those data objects are tables, views, sequences, functions, procedures, packages. You also have indexes, all right? Synonyms, like I said, procedures. So all these are database objects. Anything you create to store in the database, they are called database objects. So if you understand that for you to create something new, a database object in the database, you use the create. It helps you to know that it is a data definition language. So anything you are defining, let's say define in the sense that creating, you are bringing it into the database new. It's not existing there before, but you are bringing it new. It's called, these are database, data definition languages. Another one is alter. Alter helps you to be able to change the structure of already created objects, okay? So you've created an object, you want to change it, you want to update, you want to modify it, okay? You have 3 chairs. You want to add one more, you have a chair that has 3 legs rather. You want to add another leg to it. In that case, you are altering it. You are altering the chair. You have a table that has 5 columns in the database. You want to add one more column. You are altering the table. You want to remove a column. You are altering the table. You want to change the data type. You are altering the table. You want to rename your table name. You are altering the table. So all these things are alter command, what you use alter command for. So when you say alter something, that means you want to change the structure of a database object. So you can alter table, you can alter users, you can alter indexes, you can alter synonyms, all right? You can alter a procedure, and so on and so forth, functions. Okay, now the third one, or the third command under the data definition language is drop. Okay, I'm seeing your hand, Oluwakemi. Go ahead and ask your question.
All right, good morning. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
You're welcome. Good morning.
Yeah, so I've had to use like a couple of these definition languages, right? But you know, I'm still learning. That's what I'm going to say, because I'm familiar with tables, view indexes, but synonyms, maybe I've heard it before, but I'm not sure exactly what that is.
Okay.
If you could throw more light on that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Don't worry, I will surely explain that. I mean, okay. So when I say drop helps you to be able to, if you want to remove a table or a database object from the database, you don't want it anymore in the database, so you drop it, okay? So you want to remove all these objects I've listed and many more. You don't want to have them in the database anymore, you use the drop command. So now, synonyms is also a database object that you create. Now, how does it work is that someone needs access to a particular table that you have created. You know, synonyms literally in English means nearest in meaning, okay? So how does it happen? You have a table that you have created. Okay, I have a table that I've created in my own schema. Okay, the table is residing with my name in the database, and then you need that access to that table. So how do you get access to the table? So I can do a grant from my hand, okay, to the person who has requested to have access to that particular database. I mean, to that particular table or object, whichever one. So I'll just do a grant from my hand to that person. So for example, you requested for that table that because you don't want to create the table, you just need the record to be able to do something as fast as possible. So I can do a grant from my hand, okay, to you so that you can be able to, use the table, and from there you can do whatever you want to do with the table, but it will not affect whatever I must have done. So I'm just granting like a synonym. It's like a synonym to that table. So, but the table can carry the same name as my table or can carry another name, of course, but the content of that table will still be the same. I can change the table name for you so that if you want to do anything, it will not even affect the original table that I've created. So that is just what synonym is all about. But most times they don't use it because in an organization, everybody is connected to the same database. So it is easier for you to just reference the person's schema name to be able to pick the table. So if you need access to my own table now, you just use my name, Michael dot the table name from your own end, and you will get it. So that is how it works in organizations. But literally, synonyms, I have to write a grant select on that table from my hand before you can pick it. But they don't really use it. But it's also a database of data synonyms. Okay, I hope I've been able to answer your question.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Okay, so that is DDL, data definition language. We have create, alter, drop. Please just make sure you have this understanding. Even if you are not going to take anything away from this training today, please just take up these SQL languages. It's very, 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 very good for you. There's no interview you will go to that you will never, they won't ask you these questions. All right, so the second one is the grant. That is data control language. So you control users. Okay, that is what data control is all about. And we have grant and revoke. So grant is a command. If I say grant something, that is I'm giving you privilege. Okay, grant select on social table to social person. I'm giving you privilege to be able to access that table. Grant connect resource to social database or to social user. I'm granting you access to be able to access the database objects. Okay, that is what grant. Giving privilege. The other one is revoke. Take back the privilege you have given someone. That is revoke. I'm revoking your access to this website. I'm revoking your access to the database. That is revoke. So take back privilege. Okay. The third one is data manipulation language. Data manipulation language helps you to be able to, it deals with records of a table. It deals with records. So when we talk about data definition, they can ask you that what is the difference between data definition and data manipulation. Data definition deals with tables, like it deals with the entire table, the entire views, the entire indexes, all right, basically. But in data manipulation, you are dealing with records. So the records you insert into a table is what you are actually dealing with in data manipulation. You don't deal with table, you are dealing with the records. So under it, we have insert, update, delete, and then probably truncate. So insert helps you to populate a table. So if you have a table, an empty table that you want to put records in, so what command do you use? You use insert. So once you type insert, the system understands that you want to populate something, okay? And that is probably table. So we will surely see how all these things how they work. So we'll try to practice these data definition languages. This data and these SQL languages before our time goes off. So the second one is the update. Update command is used to modify a table. Update is used to modify the records in the table. Why alter? It is used to modify a table. Okay, update modifies the records. Alter modifies the table itself. All right. So please just try to understand what these two, they sound kind of similar, but they are different. Update deals with records. Now, delete. You don't delete a table. You delete records in a table. Drop, you drop a table. Okay, so there are two different things. So if you don't need a table, you drop it. If you don't need records in a table, you delete them. Please just try to understand that. Okay, so delete is used to delete records from a table. You don't delete a table. Now, after you have done any of this data manipulation language, maybe you insert records into a table, whether you update the table or whether you delete records from a table, you have to commit. Please understand that. Commit. They can ask you that, okay, after you've done any data manipulation language, what do you do or what must you do? Commit. Commit means to save. All right. So you save anything you must have done. The same way you write, you type on Word, Microsoft Word. Initially, you have to save, but now I think it's automatic. Once you're typing, it saves automatically. So it is very important that you save records. That is commit. Okay. Opposite of commit is rollback. Rollback is when you want to undo what you have saved. Okay. So please note that, but you must commit. If you want to take it back to what it was before you modify, you can do a rollback and it will take it back. Now, the other one here is truncate. Truncate is used to remove records, all the records you have on a table at once. You can be deleting one by one. Delete helps you to remove records one by one, but you want to remove all the records from a table at once. You use truncate. So truncate will remove all the records at once. So you don't necessarily have to commit when you truncate a table. All right. So once you truncate, the record goes. You can't get it back. Okay. Now the last one is select, which is data query language. Okay. Oladile, please kindly ask your question before we proceed.
Hello, please. It appears I'm a little bit there's a mix-up. I cannot really differentiate clearly now between alter, update, and truncate.
Okay. If alter is a data definition language, update is a data manipulation language. When I say alter, you are altering a table. You are altering database objects. When you say update, you are dealing with the records inside that table. So without records, you cannot update, but you can alter a table without records inside of it. I don't know if that is clear. It is when you have records in a table that you can update it. Okay. But you can alter a table, right, that has no records inside of it. So alter is used for an entire table. Update is used for records inside the table.
Okay.
Yes. Why truncate is used to delete. I don't want to use the word delete, but when you want to remove all the records in a table at once, you use truncate. So if I say truncate table, and then let's say the table name is student name, student information. Once I type truncate table, what I'm saying is it should go into this table and remove all the records, delete all the records from this table. I want to make the table empty, that's the meaning. But the table will still be there, okay? When you truncate a table, the table will be there, but the records are gone. But when you drop a table, both the records and the table itself, everything will be wiped off.
Okay.
Okay. So I hope you understand what I've just the explanation.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, you're welcome. So the data query language is the last group of SQL commands, and then the first and the only command you have there is select. So when I say select is to query. So when I say select, what you're telling the system is that, all right, what you're saying is go into the database and fetch something for me. So that's what it means. That's what it means to say to select. So if I say, oh, help me select that plate, what do you mean? You want to get something, you want to fetch something, all right? You want to pick something, that's the meaning. So when you want to query the database, they can also ask you practically, if you want to query the database, what command you use? Select. If you want to remove records in the table, records, okay, is it all the records at once or a single record? If it's a single record, you use delete. If you want to remove all the records, you use truncate, okay? okay, how can I take back privilege? What do I do to take back privilege from a user? I use revoke. All right, so these are commands that you need to understand. Once you understand all these things, you're good to go. I mean, you understand literally what SQL is all about. Okay, so the other thing I want to show you or to explain before we start practical, before we start practicalizing what we have known is that you also need to understand what tables are. I mean, table is all about. Table is the simplest and the most common database object. So anything, anywhere you hear database, relational database, anywhere you hear object, the first thing is table, because it is from tables that you have views, that you can create indexes, you can create synonyms. So table is the most common database object. All right. And how do you create a table in the database? Table stores data in form of rows and columns. So if you want to create a table in a database, you have to follow a particular format. Okay. Now, the format of creating a table in the database, I will still write out these things. We write it, practicalize it, and you will see how you see your tables and all this, how to create. So when you want to create a table, the first thing you do is write your create. Okay. So when you write create, now the system is waiting for you to say, oh, what do you want to create? Okay, because you can create anything. You can create views, you can create indexes, you can create procedures. Okay, but what do you want to create literally? I want to create a table. Okay, so after having written that, then you space out, and then the next thing the system is waiting for you to do is to put your table name. So the next thing is the table name. After that, then you open a bracket, and then you start filling your table with the columns you want in the table. Everything will surely be, all the columns you want to have on that table will be in the bracket. All right. And then when you are done, you save. Okay. Any questions so far, please, before we go ahead?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
So why are we creating this bracket? Is the a standard that whatever you want to write? Because I saw that when you did create, when you did table, when you did table name, those ones were not in the bracket. At what point I'm going to start using the bracket?
Come again. You're far from your system, kind of.
Okay. I'm saying that I can see that you're using brackets now. At what point we will start using this bracket? Because when you did create table, you didn't use brackets. So what is taking us to the brackets is why I'm asking.
Okay. Like I said, in SQL, there are formats to do everything. If you want to create a table, if you want to drop a table, if you want to alter, if you want to insert records, whichever, there are formats. Now, the format is that you write your create first, followed by that object you want to create, then the name of the object. After writing that, then you will now open a bracket to specify the columns you want to put in that, probably in that table. Okay, because we are working with table now. So any object or any column you want to put in this table, let's say column 1. Don't worry, we'll practice it. You will see what I'm saying. You see how it works. Let's say column 1. All right. The next thing is the data type, and then constraint. Okay. Column 2. Data type, constraint. So this is the format till you finish creating all the columns, and then, like I said, everything remains in the bracket. So I haven't created all the table, I haven't written all the columns you want to have on the table. Then you run your query. Okay. So the bracket is basically for having all the columns you want to have or you want to save in the table. You want your table to have. Without that, the system will throw up error, because that is the format to create a table. I hope I've been able to answer your question.
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. Okay, so the other thing, of course, I wrote column name, data type, constraint. So let me just quickly talk about data type and constraint. So data type is used to limit the kind of data that comes to your data table. I mean, it comes to a column. Data type is meant for each column. So if you have a table, okay, I would want us to practicalize something. Everyone, if you have a table, if you have a sheet of paper or you have a book with you and you have your pen, you can just draw 2 columns and 3 rows, okay, as if you want to do a table. 2 columns and 3 rows, and in column 1, let's say you want to store serial number for column 1, the first column. The second column, name, or let's say first name, all right? Serial number, first name. The data that will go into serial number will be different from the data that will be going into first name. Data for serial number are basically numbers, okay? Data for first name is basically letters and maybe special characters. So data type are used to restrict, to define, let me put it that, let me use that English, to define the type of data that will be going into your database. I mean, that will be going into a column, because each column with its own data type. Now, and for data types, we have four basic data types. There are plenty, all right? There are many. The first one is varchar or varchar2, whichever. Varchar means variable character. And what does this mean? Variable character is when you have it's a combination where you can store number inside of it. You can store letters. You can store special characters. If it is these three you want to store at the same time, you can do that. But what makes it variable precisely is the size. Okay, you can see after writing this varchar2 or varchar, I opened a bracket and in this bracket, you have to define the size. If you say 30, if you put in 30, what this means is that this will display like, this is like the length of the characters that should be inside that column. What I'm saying is, if you're saying first name should be varchar2 and you are putting 30, that means when you are counting in like the characters, the letters, the maximum letters or character that should be in that particular column is 30. So that means your first name cannot be as long, and it cannot be more than 30 in character. That is what you're saying. It can be less than 30, but it cannot be more than 30. I'm not talking about the number of records in that column. I'm talking about the character at once. I'm sure most of us must have applied for maybe when you are trying to write your personal summary, you are applying for maybe a scholarship or something, and they will say, oh, describe yourself. And under that column, that empty space, you will see 500. Okay, that means no matter what you're writing, the number of the letters you have to put in there must not be more than 500. Some will say 1,000 words. So some can be defined as words, some they will say letters. So whichever one, it is like a length or a size for that column. And exactly that is how it is. So the variable length or the varchar2 or varchar or the variable character always have length. If you write varchar and you don't put length, the system will throw up error. The system will surely throw up error. So once you are doing your varchar2 as a data type, you must put the size. Okay, that's number one. The second thing, you are not limited to 30. You can put 1,000, you can put 2,000, depending, 3,000. Depends on the kind of data you want to collect or you want to store in that table or in that column rather. Now, the second data type is date. Date is a data type that stores date. Okay, for example, date of birth. So if you're asking that people should put in their date of birth, what data type should you put there? It's date automatically. You don't put size. Date is date. Okay. Okay. Abdurazak, please, you give me like some minutes. Let me just quickly round off this part of the data type session. The third one is number. Now, number is also a data type that stores number. For example, you want to get people's phone number, all right? You use number, or maybe you want to store serial number, okay? So you use number, so account number, all those information, your BVN, these are number data type, okay? The fourth one is char. We call some char. Char is character, but in this case is fixed length. So the difference between variable length, which is varchar, and char, is that char is fixed length. So if you put char 1, that means what you have to, the data you want to have there must not be more than 1 and must not be less than 1. That's the meaning. So basically, most times you use this kind of data type to store maybe gender, and where you have male or female. So you just put M or F. So of course, you are not putting more than 1 record. And if you're specific that, oh, in this column, the number of records I want to put there should not be more than 10, all right, and cannot be less than 10. So you can save that column as char. That is fixed length, okay? You can save maybe like 10, all right, or 15. That is fixed length character. So it's quite different. This one is variable, can be less than what you have and cannot be more than, but this one has to be fixed. You don't save nothing less than that number or that character in that column. All right, Abdurazak, go ahead with your question.
Okay, so, my question is that when you are explaining the data type for varchar 2 and varchar, so what I understand about this is that I did not see any difference, because it's still talking about the variable character, unlike the char that, okay, this one, at least it must not be less than, it must not be more than the specific, the specified character that we want to have there. So as I just want to have maybe we may decide to use varchar 2, or we may just decide to just use varchar and then now specify the number of characters that we want to put there. Thank you.
Okay, yes, they are the same thing. So I'm just trying to let you know, at times you may see varchar 2, all right? At times you may see varchar or varchar, whichever one you use, it's still fine. So they're the same thing, basically. You get, so I'm just trying to let you know that you can use any of them. All right, so there are so many other ones. There are so many other data types. We have float, all right? We have int. Okay, we have int and integer. Okay, sorry, one more thing about numbers. Numbers can have size, but it's optional. Okay, size in the sense that, okay, this is the precision, why this is scale. Now, what I mean by precision and scale is that, you know, if you want to store records that have decimals, let's say 20.45, all right, this 2000 is the precision, while 45 is like a scale. So this is like 4 decimal place maximum, and this one can take maximum of 20 characters. All right, so I mean 20 whole numbers, let me put it that way. So this is whole number, these are decimal numbers. So it cannot take more than 4 decimal places of decimal numbers, and this one cannot take more than 20 numbers, 20 whole numbers to be precise. So we have float, we have integer, we have string, we have so many of them. But of course, as it relates to SQL, Oracle SQL, these are the 4 basic types of, the data types that we actually use. But if you use float as well, float works, all right? Float works with SQL as well. But since you are using number, what number can do float? What float can do, number can do it. What integer can do, number can do it. So, I mean, there's no difference. Okay, so that is data type. The last thing I want to really explain before we start practice is constraint. You know, I told you that for you to create a table, you must put in the column name. Then the next thing is data type, which I've just explained. The third thing is constraint. Now, constraints are restrictions. We call them restrictions. Restrictions on the columns, all right, of a table. Why you put constraint majorly is to be able to restrict the type of to put like, is like a rule you apply to a column. And what kind of rule is that? You may create a column and the column may not be that important, right? I'm sure that most of us have tried to maybe fill forms online and you will see asterisk on those columns. Some, they will say, this is very urgent. Of course, sorry, this is very important. Those asterisk columns have constraints on them. And that is why you cannot do without filling those columns, because they are very important information to be collected. Those are called constraints, right? So constraints helps you to apply rules on columns of a table stored in the database. And we have 5 types of constraints as relates to Oracle SQL. The first thing is primary key. Okay. The second one is foreign key. The third one is not null. The fourth one is default. And the fifth one is unique. Okay, unique key. Okay. Now, when we say primary key combines 2 attributes. When you say a column should be a primary key are those columns that you have that are unique in nature. Okay, they're not just unique, but they are not null. Not null means not empty. So if you say a column should be primary key, that means that column, any record you are putting inside that column should be unique, distinct records. Number 2 is that you cannot leave that column without filling those records. And part of your primary keys are probably something that is that information as relates to your school. Your primary key basically in your school is your matric number. Matric number is unique to everybody, and no matter what you're doing in school, you have to put in your matric number. Okay, so if as it relates to matric number, as it relates to bank, your primary key, all right, what you use as a primary key in the bank would be your BVN, right? Something that is very, very unique to you, and you can't go to a bank and they will want to ask for your information and they will not ask you for your account number. It's not possible. All right. So these are things that are very important as it relates to your information. So anything can be your primary key, but please understand that it is not just unique attributes, but something, that information that you cannot do without filling. When you say you want to fill in a particular like gathering of information. Okay, so the second thing is your foreign key. Foreign key is like when you have your primary key being referenced in another table. So you can reference the column that you make a primary key here. You can reference it in another table. On that new table, it becomes a foreign key. All right. You're a Nigerian by birth, and then probably you go to the UK. In the UK, you become a foreigner. Okay, you're a foreign key in the UK because you were not born in UK. You were born in Nigeria. So you become a foreigner in the UK or in Canada, whichever. All right. But what makes a primary key foreign basically is because now where you create the table where you create that column is a primary key. But when you are referencing that column in another table, it becomes a foreign key. So a table cannot have more than one primary key. Please note that. A table cannot have more than one primary key. So every table, it doesn't necessarily mean that all tables should have at least one primary key. You can create a table and you don't have primary key. All right. So that is one thing. And if you are having a primary key, that means it must not be more than one. So you cannot have 2 primary keys on a table, or you can have as many foreign keys on a table. You can reference as many primary keys from different tables on a single table. All right, that is another one. So primary key reference in another table becomes a foreign key. The third one is not null, right? Not null means not empty. Not empty. So when you're saying the column should not be empty, that means you cannot leave that column. Those asterisk columns, that is not empty, not null. Now, so when you're saying the column should not be not empty, that means information must be provided in that table, must be provided. Now, the fourth one is default. Default columns are columns that you put values inside of them. So for example, gender, if you're filling forms online, you see gender and they would have put either male or female or whichever one. Those are default values. So you just click on one and pick that value you want to pick. You don't enter it yourself. You have to choose it. Okay, those are default columns. The fifth one is unique. Now, unique key helps you to identify unique values, right? Put in unique values. What are the unique values? Something that is unique to you, that is only you that have it, that is personal to you. Your account number, your BVN, your NIN, your thumbprint, your fingerprint, whichever. Okay, your phone number is unique to you. Can someone also tell us what is unique to them? Like something that is information that is unique to you, aside from the ones I've listed? Can I get examples, more examples? Anyone?
Your BVN.
Hello. Okay, BVN. Yes. I think I made mention of BVN. Okay. What else?
Like
Your NIN.
Okay, NIN. Olubi, go ahead, please.
Yes, I wanted to say NIN or your driver's identity number or something like that.
Exactly, your passport identity number as well.
Your work ID.
Yeah, exactly.
Registration number.
Exactly. Seems you want to run away. Huh? Okay. Okay, what other thing?
Your car registration number?
Yes, exactly. Your car registration number. So many of them. Thank you very much. So all these are unique keys that unique values that are attributed to you alone. All right. Yeah. Okay, Oluwakemi, go ahead, please.
Thank you very much. I just have a quick question.
Okay.
I heard you when you explained primary key, right?
Okay.
And it makes sense. It still makes sense. But I've always had this, I've always had the struggle understanding what the difference between unique key and primary key is. I'd just like if you could throw more light on that.
Okay. So unique key has only that attribute of unique, all right? Something that is unique. So a unique key, you can make a column unique key and it may, what you're saying is that column is unique. If you are filling any information in that column, it should be unique, but it can be null, it can be empty. So it's not compulsory, right? The compulsion there is you are putting a value that is only unique to you. But a primary key, you have to put in values into that particular column. It is very important. Okay, that is the not null attribute. And then any column or any record you are putting in that column should be unique to you. So that is the difference between the two. One is compulsory, that is not null. The other one is null, can be null, depending. All right. Have I answered your question? Hello? Can you hear me? Have I answered your question? Okay.
Yes, you have. Apologies. Yes, you have.
All right. So that is just the difference. Unique, not null, and the other one could be null. All right. Let's quickly go back to our.
Sorry, just to confirm. Hello.
Go ahead, please.
I observed that in your writing, you put dash dash. In some places, you're using 2 dash. In some, you're using 3. The last item you explained, which is a unique key, you put 4 dash in front. Is there any special reason for that?
Oh, okay. Thank you for the question. There's no special reason. It's just me trying to, explain more. The dash is nothing really. It's just for me to be able to put more explanation on what all these have explained. I mean, I'm trying to explain. It doesn't mean anything. I'm not writing code yet.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. All right, so
Sorry, I have my hands up again. Sorry, I just remembered
okay.
I had a question. I didn't want to take us back. So when you're talking about data type, when you're talking about data type, you talked about sorry, please can we go back to your notepad again?
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, you talked about data type number and you explained this precision part, you know.
Yes.
I lost you at some point. Please can you just sorry, I'm taking you back. Can you just explain that, precision part again?
It's fine, it's fine. So the precision is like the whole numbers, all right? Precision and scale. So the precision is like the whole number, while the scale is like the decimal numbers. So I gave an example here, and I said that if you store a column as data type number, and then you put this particular attribute in front of it, okay, what you're saying is that if I have 2000, that means 2000 here is this precision. That is, these are the whole numbers. 2000 is the whole number here, while the scale is the decimal numbers. So it's saying that 20, you are saying you cannot store more than 20 numbers as whole numbers. And then that is if you are counting like 20000000000 till 20 characters, and then before you have your decimal, and then you have your something like this. So that means that the whole number cannot be more than 20, and then the decimal cannot be more than 4. So you're saying 4 decimal place cannot be more than 4. Does not mean that, I'm not saying that it has to be 4. It cannot be more than 4. That is the maximum that you have set for that column is 4 decimal place. So it can be less than 4, it can be 4, but it cannot be more than 4. You can't have 5 decimal places. And then you cannot have records spanning up to 21 numbers, 21 whole numbers. It's not possible. If you have set this restriction, all right, of 20,4. So if you want to, you can create a column and assign number to it without putting this restriction. But for VACHA 2 and CHA, you have to put the size. But for number, it is optional. You can put it and you may not put it, depending on whatever you want to do.
Thank you very much. It's clear.
Okay. All right. So let's just go ahead. I will show us how to create tables. I will show us how to alter table. I will show us how to, perform the necessary data definition, the group of commands. I will just try to show us how that works, really. Okay. So, now, the first thing you do when you come to this environment is that you sign in. Of course, you can see that I've not done any signing in. I've not done anything yet. Okay, so on your system, probably when you have your installation on your system, you will have this particular interface as well. Okay, so what you are supposed to do is you come to session, all right, you create new connection, and then you sign in. Okay, this is just like an organizational thing, but just want to show you how it works as well. I'm going to connect. So these are just the database. These are just the database access. All right, database connection. You have to put in your username and password and the database you want to connect to. Okay, so while that is coming up, does anyone have any further question before? All right, so I've been able to sign in into the database. Go ahead, please.
So when you talked about which database we want to sign into, so for a beginner, and I want to believe that you'll be magnanimous to, write out how to the site to go to, how to log in. But at that point, because we're doing a test per se, what server we will be or database we'll be connecting to? Are there demo server that we'll connect to?
Yeah, so the database will be installed on your system. So database will be installed on your system that you can always interact with. Okay, so but in an organization, they have a central database that everybody will log into. But on your system, for practice sake, database and environment will be installed, and then you can do whatever you want to do with it. And basically, it's an Oracle database, like I said. For Microsoft also you have a database installed. That is, you have to install the SSMS, you have to install the Microsoft database. So whichever one you'll be connecting to, whether Oracle or Microsoft, still the interface are quite different. Okay, but of course the database is database. The database too are different really, because the way you have the database for Microsoft, you have the database for Oracle. So whichever one you are connecting to for your practice sake, the major thing is to be able to interact with the database. And how do you interact with the database is by using your commands. So the major thing for you here is to use your commands. Okay, Shegun, you can go ahead, please.
Yeah, please, can they use AdventureWorks with this Oracle system, Oracle interface?
No.
Okay.
They can't. But there's a way they can interact from Microsoft to Oracle. Okay, that is just on an advanced level, but not now. It will be better that you have Oracle database installed for you, and you are interacting with it on the Oracle environment. The Microsoft, install the environment, and you also install the database in order not to cause confusion. But you can't interact with Adventure with Oracle for now. Don't let me cause confusion. So for now, you can't do that. Okay, now, like I said, we'll be creating tables. We'll create sequence. We'll create sequence, and then we alter tables and do some other things. All right, now the first thing I would want to show you is how to create a table. Don't forget we have a template, and the template is this. So for you to create a table, you write your create command, and then you specify table. Then you give your table a name. I haven't done that, then you open the bracket and you put all the columns in your table. Let's go ahead to do that. Now, the first thing you do is you create a table. So how do you create a table? You write the create command, create table, create table. Then someone should help us with a table name. I don't want to be the one to just give me a table name. Okay, I want to get information about students. All right, student data. Student data. Student data. Look at it. So you can have your table name like this, or you can put an underscore, or say student data. But it is not advisable. You can't have it like this and say student space data. If you should write it this way, then the system would be confused. In fact, it will throw up error. You can see that I'm getting an error already. Data expecting an end of input, blah, 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 blah. So you can't store it this way. So you have to join it together. Your student and data should be joined together. All right. So this is the table name for our table. And then you open your bracket like this. Okay. So opening your brackets, I want to store information. Don't forget, my table can have a primary key. It's not compulsory it has to have a primary key, but it is good your table has a primary key. For reference purposes, it is very good. So what are the information I want to store on this table, student data? What information do you think we can store? I want us to give me, like, if you have your table now, let's say you want to get information, you have drawn your table on this. Yes, student name. But why not let's start with serial number, okay? So that each column each record will be assigned to each student. So let me say serial number.
Okay.
All right. You can put the bracket, you can put it
number.
down. Okay, student serial number. The next thing is what? Data type, don't forget. The column name first, then the next thing is data type, followed by constraint. So what kind of data type should go for serial number? What kind of data type should we store there?
Student's name.
Yeah, like what kind of data type? Of course, we have data types here. Is it varchar? Is it number? Is it date? Is it char?
Numbers.
Number. So I'm going to put number. That's good. Because I'm not dealing with serial, I'm not dealing with decimal number. I'm just specifying number. I don't need to put the precision and scale. Don't forget, I say you can do that as well. So then what constraint? The third thing is constraint. What constraint should we apply? Okay, on that table, I mean on that column. So I'm going to make it my primary key.
Primary.
Yes, then followed by comma. The reason why I'm going to put it as primary key is because I want it to be unique, and at the same time, you have to put in, it has to be not null. You have to give me your serial number. I mean, serial number is very important for this information I'm trying to get. So that is that for that particular column. Okay. Column name, data type, then constraint. That's all. All right. The next thing is, yes, someone was saying something. The next column you want to create student name, right? Student name. All right.
Student ID.
Student ID. Student ID and matric number.
Student grade.
Okay. Okay, we'll take it one after the other. So let's first create student name. Student name, who can tell me what data type should we use for this student name? Is it varchar? Is it date? Is it number? Is it char? Which one?
Varchar.
Okay. So what size? Don't forget student name is student name and first 50. Name, second name, third name. 50. Is 50 enough? I want to start with student names. 100. Okay. You've not seen names that are longer than a single name longer. I mean, like a first name that is up to 20 characters.
50 is okay.
50 is okay. Okay. Personally, as a developer or as a BI developer, I would rather put something that would be more than enough, so that there won't be issues later on. Let me just put
some name that 200. Comes as a statement. So put 1,000. We don't lose anything.
All right. Okay, mine, let me just put 200. All right. At least no matter the name you want to put, it should not be more than 200. All right, to be on the safer side. The third thing, someone made mention of matric number. Matric number, what data type? Oh, here you can. So let's say not null. So not null is not empty. You must put your student name. It is very important for me. You must give me your name. It is very important. All right. Matric number is also varchar. All right. And then let me say 30. Now, the reason why I'm making it varchar is because some matric numbers you have /, you have numbers, you have letters. All right. So special characters, I don't know. So I'm going to use varchar for that, because if I should use number, it will not work, because of course matric numbers have letters in them. So I'm going to use varchar, and then what I will do is I'll put unique. All right. So your matric number must be unique. You can't enter someone else's matric number, or the same matric number cannot appear twice. It's not possible. All right. So the other thing, okay, what other columns, please?
Gender.
What?
Gender.
Your subject?
Okay, gender. Okay, gender. I'm going to use char. let me say 1. And then I will put a default.
Yeah, default.
Default. And then I will say male or female. That's all. Please, you can see that after each column, there is a comma. It is used to separate one column from another. If you don't put column and you're trying to enter your data into the database, you will surely get an error. That is very, very, very sure of me. For me, I mean, that is very sure. You will surely get an error.
Hello, please, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Okay, my question is that because from what I can understand on this information that you are imputed on the system now, so it means that we can't create a data type without putting the constraints at the end of the data type, right?
No. Data type is separate, is different. Constraint is different. But if you are creating a table and you are creating columns, the most important thing you should have is your column name and your data type. Constraint is optional, but it is good you put constraint. They don't depend on each other. They don't depend. The fact that you are putting data type does not mean that it has to have constraint. No, it is optional. You have constraint, but data type is very important on a table. You can't create a table and a column without putting data type, or you can do without putting constraint. Have I answered your question?
Yes, you have. You have. Thanks. You have.
All right, sir. All right, what other columns or what other records or what other information do you want to get about the students? Don't forget, this is student data. Phone number, right?
Or level.
Yeah, level. So phone number, that's number. I can make it optional. Level, all right? Level of study. If you write level, you see that you have a blue, that's turned into blue, I mean, a blue word kind of. So what this means is this level is a keyword in the database. So you can't just leave it as level. So probably you just say level of study. All right, level of study should be whichever one. I don't know. Maybe you want to write it in words, or you want to write it in numbers, whichever one. So, but I'm not sure what you want to write there. Okay, what other thing? Email address. Okay. Voucher, I can make it 100. Okay, I don't know.
Must you write in capital letter?
No, it's not a must, but it's very good. It makes my script, okay, very easy to read. It's not a must. Okay, so what other information? What other column can we create?
Next of kin.
Okay.
Address, parent details, subject.
Okay.
CGPA.
Okay. So next of kin, voucher, 100. Address. Okay. Voucher as well. You can see most of those columns I'm not putting my what's it called? Constraints. Okay, CGPA. Number. Okay, let's make it number. And then let's say 20 and then 4, depending. Of course. So of course I want to store
unique.
No, you can have someone with the same CGPA.
Okay.
Yes, you can have someone with the same CGPA. In fact, like the same values. Okay, so
the voucher for next of kin is wrong.
Voucher for what? Oh, okay. So these are things you look for in your when you are creating tables. So these are the columns you want to have on this table. Now you can look at it, you can see that after the last column, then there is no comma. So what you do is you just save in the database. I press Control Enter, and this is saved. Inserted column too large. Inserted column too large. One thing about sorry. So it's saying that what I'm inserting into this column as a default is too large for me. I put one here, and I have like 3 records I've inserting and putting as a value. If you are the one that you are trying to do that yourself, then you can put 1. But because I'm specifying now, and how many records do I have here? I have 3, M/and F. So I have to put what? 3. Okay. Then once you do that, you see table created. Now I have created this table. I want to query the database to see what, let me see the structure of the table I've created. Don't forget what command you use to query the database. What command? Who can remind us?
Select.
Select.
So, all right. So if I say select star from, what is my table name? So student data. So you will see the column here, the columns of your table. You can see this is a column of my table. So I have queried the database by using the select. So select star. What does star do? Star is, or star means all columns. So the way you have it in Microsoft is the same way you have it in Oracle. Star means all columns. So yes, that's what it means. So if I say select star, I'm saying that select all columns from this table. Imagine I say that I need just 2 columns. Let's say I want student name and matric number alone. That's what I want to see. I don't want any other columns to be viewed on my table. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'll just specify the columns. So say select student name, matric number from the table name. All right? Or you can put your from here, whichever one. It's the same thing. Then you can see that I've restricted it to 2 columns. So these are the I specify the columns I want to see. All right. So if eventually, let's say I don't need this table anymore, who can remind me what should I do? What can I do if I don't need this table anymore?
You drop.
And drop it.
So you say drop table, the table name. So here you have table dropped. All right. So I can go ahead to recreate the table inside the database. The table has been dropped. Let me drop it. And let me say, I want to select from it. What does it say? Table of view does not exist. So I have dropped the table. Okay, I've created it. All right, now let's quickly practice something. What I want to do is that, let me quickly populate this table. Because of my time, I'll just quickly show you how to populate the table and see the records. I'll just create 2 records inside the table. Select stuff from the table name. All right, so these are the columns I want to populate: serial number, student name, matric number, gender, home, phone number, level of study. So I'm going to put 2 records. So how do you create, what command do you use to put records into a table? Who can remind us?
Update.
You create.
Insert.
Insert. No, it's not update. It's insert. To put records into a table. So you say insert into, what's the table name? Okay. Then you say values. Okay. That's the format in Oracle to insert values. It's the same thing with Microsoft. You want to insert records into a table. So you now look at the column one by one. Then you now start putting your records into that column. All right. So I want to use this column. The first column is what? Serial number. So I'll say 1. Any value you are trying to put, you have to string it, put it in string. The next name, the next column is what?
Student name.
Student name. So let me use one student name. In string as well. Daniel Kemi. Please don't mind the names. The names are, the way they are coming is, I don't even know, but let me just use mixture. And then Chibuzo, right? Then you have Kemi Chibuzo.
Oh, you sure?
All right. So matric number, let's say SDE slash 18 slash 282345. All right. You string it as well. And then the next column is what? Gender. Let's say female.
Okay.
I will get an error, surely. Okay, let me say female.
Phone number.
Phone number. 09076. Right. The next one is what? Level of study. 400 level. 400 level. The next one is what? Email address. Gmail.com. Next one is what? Next of kin. Let's see. Kelvin Samuel. The next one, address.
Okay, address.
Lagos, just the Lagos, Nigeria. Okay. Then the other one, the last one there is CGPA. Let's say 4.57. Now, these are the values we want to insert. The first value we want to insert into the record. We'll get an error. All right. Okay. So I think that has been sorted out. Where I was expecting the error is this this gender. Why? Because the reason why we did not get the error is because we specified. All right. And what we specified here is part of what was created. So if I do a select star on that table, you should get this record. So you can see that we have a record already. Second one, let me just put another one. Let me say Jennifer. Or let me say Femi Olawole. MSc 2019. Okay, let's say male. 8035749. All right, so let's say this one using 600, sorry, 300 level. Fem dot KO. All right. Stephen James. Okay. Nigeria 4.46. So I've inserted another record. If I do a select star, so we have two records already. So that's how to populate a table in SQL. Okay. Our time is fast spent. I have so these are just part of the things you need to know, really. So being able to create a table. So imagine, let me just quickly practice one of the alter commands. So I have this table and I forgot to add, let's say I need a column that stores course of study. Okay, there's no course of study column here. So how can I add that? I want to alter the table. So what I will do is I'll just write alter table, the table name, Okay, because I want to add a column, so I'll say add. All right, so what column do I want to add? Course of study. Course of study, that is Bachelor 2, or let me say 100. All right, and I create that. Okay, still running. Still running. So, but the major thing is the syntax by which you added it. So this is the syntax, alter table, the table name, and then you put your add command because you want to add a column. So you add this column. This is the column name, and then the data type. And then once it runs, the record drops into the database and you are good to go. Because of our time, I would like to stop here. I don't know if you have questions before I take my leave. Any question? Any question? Hello?
There's Olaolu Olubiyi that wants to ask a question.
Okay, Olaolu, go ahead, please.
Yes, thank you very much for the expository teaching. Yeah, so I use Toad in my organization. I work with EcoBank, but basically, I really don't know how some of these scripts, are formulated. I'm just advice scripts, and then I run to generate, whatever I want. Okay, but I want to know now for some of us that maybe want to delve a bit into maybe financial analysis or business analysis or things like that. Which command is it? The select command that we will be using often, in order to just concentrate, time into learning and perfecting that. So that's just my question.
So basically, you work with select statements, basically, because not everybody have the privilege of creating objects. Most of these objects must have been created by some persons that have the access. Not everybody have that privilege to create objects like tables, views in the database. All right. So because you work at EcoBank, most of your tables already exist. So basically, what you'll be doing is data querying and data manipulation. You query the database. Okay. So using the select statement. So most of the things I think you will be doing is select. But it's good you know these things as well, because what if you get a job that they tell you that, oh, we just want to start, how can you use your expertise to help us create most of these objects in the database and all those, so it's good you know them as well. But currently where you are, I think you have that limited license. You may not be able to work with by creating objects. You may only be working with select. So I wouldn't want you to limit your knowledge on only learning how to use the select statement. Do you understand? So it is good you know how to use select. Also, you also know how to use other data, other SQL commands. Okay, one thing just came to my mind right now while I was explaining that. Imagine I want to select only where the student's name or where the level of study is 300 level. All right, so it's an advanced way of selecting your records. Okay, so I'm selecting all from that table, but what I just need is anyone whose current level of study is 300 level. So I'll just put my where condition because I'm particular about level of study. Okay, so because you have that column, you include it in your query, level of study equals 300 level. Okay, so it's going to bring this for me. So the where condition helps you to specify. helps you to specify what you want to get. So you can do where condition as many times as possible. All right. But in a query like this, your where condition should only appear once. So imagine you want to add another condition. That's when you start using and. You can't say where something, and you now use another where. No, it won't work that way. So any other condition you'll be adding this time around, just be and. The next one is and, like that, like that. You can have as many and like that. So that is just to quickly introduce you to where condition and statements. All right. So any other question before I take my leave?
Yes. Hello.
Oh, go ahead, please.
Yeah, my name is Monserrat. Please, I want to ask, where we have a lot of data to impute, like where you put the student name, matric number. So let's say, for example, we have like hundreds or thousands of data to impute. Is it possible to copy and paste here, or we still have to manually start imputing it one after the other?
Yes, if you have your data in Excel format, like your data has been stored in Excel, you can import Excel into this. If you just create the table and then import your data, you can import data into Excel. Import Excel data into your database, into a table you have created into the database. But if the data does not exist from anywhere, that means you might need to insert the record one after the other. But inserting it one after the other will take time. You can write a procedure. That's an advanced level of insertion. But if, like I said, it's a new environment, a new database, but the data is coming from somewhere, of course, you'll be able to connect to that environment to import your data. And then one of them, like I said, is an Excel. So you can import Excel records into your database without you even manipulating or writing it one by one. Just create a table and there's a way you can do that and then you are good to go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
For us that we need to make decision with data, at what point are we going to know what, how do we query?
How do you query? Okay. In what aspect?
Get information from the database.
Okay, how you get information from the database? So that actually depends on what you are trying to look for, what data you are, what exactly you are looking for. So probably if you don't know the data or if you don't know the table and then you want to make decision, of course, you must know the kind of data you want to make decision with, all right? And if the table is what you don't know, there's a way you can query the database to show you the table that has been created, and then you just get to use the table that you want to use. And then you just say, select star from all tables. So this query or command will bring all the tables you have in your database for you, whether you are the one that created it or you are not. So it will show you all the tables to have in the database. But then the data you are working with depends on what you want to get and what kind of decision you want to make. All right. As well, making decision goes beyond you doing a select. Of course, you want to represent your data by creating like a chart using Microsoft Power BI for it. Okay, that's another level entirely. But here, selecting your data from the database by specifying the table you want to check your data from is what you can do here.
Sorry, don't mind me. Kindly, there was something you did. So from the table we created, how can I select just the matric number and the people we the top three students?
Matric number and top 3 students. So
yeah, that'll be select matric.
All right.
That's cool. Yeah.
Then top 3 student by what? Is it by
CGPA?
CGPA? So you say CGPA. Yeah. CGPA. Okay. From the table name. Okay, student data. All right.
Why?
So you're not specifying where, so you just say order by CGPA. Descending. So it will order by from the highest CGPA to the lowest. But because I have looked, I don't have much record here.
Much record, okay.
Yeah, you can say, you can do something like where row none less than 3 or less than or equals to 3. So it will restrict it to 3 records. Do you understand? Yeah. If you have 1 million records, it will only show you the top 3.
And very quickly, we can also use select top 3. That will make it faster.
Yeah, you can use top 3 as well. But the way you write it in Oracle is different from the way that one is only possible in Microsoft. Sure, you understand? For Microsoft, when you say select top 100, top 3, top this, it will show it to you. Okay, but here, there's a kind of restriction. There's a way you put it. It's either you do a descending order, blah, 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 blah. But it doesn't work here. You have to, there's another way you can go about it. But for Microsoft, once you type select top something, it will surely give you the value you are looking for.
Okay, because of the time of our instructor, he needs to go. He has another engagement somewhere else. We just have to call it a day now. So Michael, you're free to go. So I will still wait behind for the next 5 minutes or so. If anybody has any question, you can still ask. Thank you very much.
All right, so thank you everyone, and enjoy the rest of your day.
So please try to follow him on social media. Try to follow him on LinkedIn, follow him on Twitter, and any updates is throwing out there, you'll be able to see.
His name again.
Thank you.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes, so sorry, what's your view for someone that wants to learn blockchain technology? What will you recommend?
Blockchain technology. Why this is cool
as an accountant,
but it's not limited to this. Do you want to just be, like a programmer?
No, just to, not really a programmer. So not a programmer. It's just to add to the accounting profession.
Yeah, then I think you need more of the application of it rather than the IT skill. Like, just to be able to know, what you need to do is that you need to identify how the technology will assist your job as an accountant or as a finance professional. I will just give you 2 or 3 examples. This is no coding required because this is meant for like very experienced IT professional. But as an accountant or a finance professional, I'll just tell you 2 or 3 ways blockchain has revolutionized or will continue to revolutionize the profession. Number 1 is in terms of intercompany confirmation or third-party confirmation that we have in audits. Are you with me?
I'm with you.
Okay, like third-party confirmation, we ask for bank confirmation, we ask for intercompany confirmation, creditors confirmation, debtors confirmation. So with the technology of blockchain, that will no longer be necessary because it is immutable. It is you cannot corrupt it, and every person within that node, within that interconnection, will be aware before any change can be made. So with that will eliminate the need for, all those third-party confirmation and everything because the system is reliable. And another way could be in your store of ledger, the general ledger within your organization. So auditors will be able to trust the process and auditors will require less review. So something like that. So that is the business case you can think of rather than how do you do the coding. Just when you get to your organization, study it, see how the blockchain technology will assist or in what area blockchain will help. Then with that, you can then propose it to the organization if they'll be willing to take it on. And then you can then hire professionals that will now do the coding for you. Hello?
Okay. Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah, you're welcome. Any other question before we end the session? Okay, on these notes, in the absence of no other question, we end the session now, and the video we made available, the script that was written today will be made available, and we'll communicate to you our further trainings. And since I already have all your information, I will always let you know. Anytime we are doing SQL training, Power BI training, Excel training, or financial modeling training. In the meantime, go and check that financial modeling link I sent to you. It is very important. If you are a finance person, this is going to be a turnaround to your finance profession. And also it's going to improve your Excel skill so much. A lot is loaded into that few hours training. I think it's about 17 or 18 hours of training. Watch the video, it's made available free of charge. So take advantage of it. Thank you very much. Enjoy your weekend and God bless you.